Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and in today's video I'm going to give you my day one discoveries, everything that I learned on day one about the new Echoes of the Atlas expansion and Ritual League. So to begin with, let's talk Ritual. Ritual is a new mechanic that was added, which is going to add 3 to 4 rituals to each and every zone or map that you're in. So a ritual, of course, as I'm sure you all know, is a new zone within the map. You can see one here in the background, which contains an absolute ton of monsters. And then once you slay those monsters, you can then click on the banner, respawn them, kill them again and again and again, and then you get more and more favor to then spend on rewards, which you can check out in the reward banner. Now, this is a pretty insane mechanic. It's absolutely, in my opinion, the most rewarding mechanic so far, in my experience, that they've ever introduced in a league. It's more so than Delirium and more so than Heist. I've gotten multiple very, very high ticket rewards, exalts, 6 links, divination cards, which are worth a lot. I know someone who's just gotten 2 doctors from it. That's completely ridiculous. And I'm sure there's been raw headhunters and all sorts of insane stuff in there as well. Someone in my chat said they got a Shavs, etc. So you basically have a massive option of a bunch of different rewards at your disposal, and you can choose to spend your money on any of them. You can choose to defer them, and we're going to go into that in a second. And you can also choose to re-roll them. So let's jump into the game, and we'll do one, and we'll take a quick look, and I'll talk to you guys about min-maxing it and kind of all that kind of stuff like that. So we'll just go on this T7 map, and we'll just do one real quick. Jump in here, and we'll kind of run through the user interface, and I'll give you guys the tips. So to begin with though, when you're going through the story, these rituals are going to massively, drastically change the layout of the different leveling zones. So it is going to make it a little bit more difficult to figure out where you're going in leveling. In addition to that, there are going to be kind of a lot of XP and loot. So if you're having trouble in the story, you can absolutely go for them. If you're not, I would recommend going straight to maps if you can, because they get much better in maps. You get a lot more currency to spend in them, and you also get a lot more good options to kind of choose from, like tons of different options and currency and all that kind of stuff like that. So we'll start off this ritual. Each ritual has different types. There's some of them which are pretty toxic. Some of them are very easy, but all of them seem to buff the monsters inside of them, which is pretty insane. Okay, so let's take a look here. So when you do your first ritual, you're going to notice that you get to have a look at most times the worst rewards that are on offer from the ritual. So you can see here, we got an essence coming up, you got a div card, all that kind of stuff like that. So don't look at the ritual immediately, but what you should be looking at is here, 2 rituals remaining. So now you can say in your head, okay, I need to do 3 rituals before I can start going shopping. I would never recommend buying anything from the ritual store or deferring anything until you've done all the rituals or you're running out of portals. The reason for this is because you can't make an educated decision on what you want to do with your tribute without seeing all the options, seeing how many points you're going to have, and all that kind of stuff like that. So let's quickly scout around for these last ones here, and I'll kind of take you through it. Now, ritual in general is going to be fairly rewarding on average. For your average player, you're probably going to get multiple stacks of little Chaos Orbs. They come in stacks of 1 and 2, sometimes in 10 as well. You probably will run into an Exalted Orb after not too long, which will be pretty good. And then you can also get, obviously, the big ticket items as well, which is very, very nice. Now, ritual rewards do scale as you get higher tier. In T16s, which I'm in currently right now, you can just buy Guardian maps in them. They're just there, and they're 7,000 tribute to get them, which is not too much, not too bad. You can defer them. And you can also buy some other pretty cool toys and stuff like that in rituals as well. Now, one thing to notice is that the bases from Ritual do seem to be incredibly rare. So in Ritual League, they introduced a ton of new item bases, some of which are completely broken, and these do seem to be quite rare indeed. Very, very cool. Now, when you're doing rituals, your first ritual will spawn all the monsters that was slain inside that ritual. So you rock up, there's a bunch of mobs in there, slay them all good. Now, a quick thing to notice is that if there's a breach nearby or a legion, you'll need to activate that first before you can activate the ritual, because those monsters in the hidden legion, for example, count as being in the ritual. So when you do that, you slay all the monsters, you kill that ritual. The next ritual you activate will have all those monsters in the first ritual, plus the ritual monsters in the second ritual, and those will all be in the same one here. That's going to be relevant later on, because there's a few different things you can do with that, which are pretty interesting. So we'll just deal with this ritual here, take it out, no problem. Carrying golems OP, the drill. So yeah, we'll take this one out. Not entirely sure what this one does actually in terms of its effects, but now you can see here we got a map, we got some catalysts, we got some alchemies. The rewards are getting better, but we have 1 to go. Who knows what could be up here? And then we'll talk about deferring and loot filters and stuff like that. So we'll just keep going and we'll find the last ritual here. And it's going to be pretty good. Okay, it looks like it's in the boss room. Perfect, that's exactly what I wanted. So we'll jump in here and we'll go around. So I think when we jump in here that it'll actually literally be in the ring. So more often than not, it does put one of them in the ring, one of the boss in the ring, sorry. And the reason for that is because when you slay a boss on the ritual circle, that actually includes as being included in the ritual. So now each time that you activate a subsequent ritual, that will have the boss in it. And a funny and hilarious example of this is I decided to skip all rituals in a T16 Chimera map all the way up to the end. And then the ritual circle was on Chimera. I slayed Chimera, and then I tried to do the rituals, and I had to do Chimera 4 more times. He's not as powerful, but it was absolutely hilarious to have to kill a Guardian boss over and over and over again. He didn't drop the fragment, if that's what you guys are curious about. So, of course, rituals include pretty much everything in their circle. So when I spawn this again, the boss will come out again, and we'll get to see our final rewards. Now, I'm not entirely sure if the difficulty of the monsters in the ritual dictate how much points you get. One cool strategy might be to go and do the boss first, check if it's got a ritual circle on it, slay it, and then backtrack to the other rituals to try and get the boss in every single one and get more points. That could definitely be a viable option because points is awesome, their power. Now you can see here we have, no really other really good rewards. I think a perfect fossil might be worth some chaos. Okay, so it's worth like 2C, pretty good. So we have an option of 2C or 2 abrasive catalysts here. So that's definitely not bad. You can see here that these are probably going to stack up pretty good, and this is what I would consider a below average ritual reward. Now, obviously I don't have enough money for these ritual splinters, so I can actually choose to defer items, which will allow you to pay 15% of their original cost, and then next time you encounter them, they'll be discounted by 10%. So you do lose a little bit of your tribute here, but you get a chance at it later on, and this is how you buy really expensive items like Guardian Maps, Exalts, and like Doctors and Headhunters and stuff like that, because they cost way more tribute than you're ever going to get in a map. So yeah, that should be how it goes. Okay, next up, if you don't want to defer, you can also re-roll the items here, but I would never recommend doing this unless you have more than twice the favor amount of the re-roll. Many times I've re-rolled and then I get something awesome and I don't have enough tribute remaining to defer it because it's too expensive. So be very careful with the re-roll button. You're generally giving up something, and unless there's absolutely nothing, I wouldn't click it, and we'll go into another reason why you shouldn't click it in a second. So when you defer an item, that means that it's going to pop up in the future some point. I've had it come up like 10 maps later, I've had it come up like 2 maps later, but I've never had it once not come up at all. I've always gotten what I've deferred, and it does come around eventually. In the case of like stuff like Exalts and super rare stuff, it does seem to take a little bit longer for it to come around compared to something like a Chaos Orb, which comes around immediately. But don't worry, it is still there. It's just stuck in the system. It's kind of working its way into the next ritual, and you will eventually be able to get it. Now, there is a limit on the amount of items that you can defer, so don't just defer everything. You can make sure you defer only the best items that you intend to buy next time it pops up. And that's really good. So, another thing you need to know about deferrals. So when you do another ritual and you show a deferred item, it pops up and you're like, damn, there it is. And you can't buy it again, you can defer it once again, and you can pay another 15% for a 10% discount, and you can keep chipping away at items until they come to an amount where you can actually afford them. Now, another thing about deferrals though that you guys need to know is if you do defer an item and then you choose not to or can't defer it again and buy it on the time it pops up again, then it'll actually be ticked back 1 deferral rating, and then it may show up again, but it may also not show up again. So if you do defer something, make sure you have the currency to defer it again or to buy it on the spot. Now, this plays into the reroll button. Let's say I rerolled right now and I got my Headhunter I had just deferred in my T16 map with tons of tribute. Well, I wouldn't be able to defer it again because Headhunter costs about 17,000 tribute, so I would lose a deferral rating on my Headhunter and potentially, depending on how many times I deferred it, lose the Headhunter itself, which definitely would be bad. So be really careful with the reroll button. It can be extremely powerful, if you've got tons of tribute to spend, but definitely be cautious with it. So next up, let's look at item filter. So you can see here that apply item filter essentially grays out items that you wouldn't want to see. Those are items that are actually on your filter, and like hidden on your filter, so you can actually kind of like look at the options much quicker and see what you're wanting to choose from. So you can see here, I grayed out apply item filter. If I put it on a more strict filter, you'll see that it gets even more intense. Let's put on 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And we'll go to the ritual, and you can see if I apply the filter, okay, it's actually a less strict one. Wow, dude, that's actually insane. Unlucky. So yeah, there it is, guys. That's gonna be like deferral and ritual and all that good stuff. It's pretty awesome. Definitely would encourage you to check it out. Absolutely insane currency. It's the best, in my opinion, league for money, and I would absolutely recommend stopping doing chaos recipe and just do more rituals, because you're just going to get more juice and more currency from doing rituals than anything else. So super duper cool. Let's pick up these maps and make our way to the next topic, shall we? What are we picking here? Let's pick alchemies, because I need alchemies. There it is, dude. And that's it. Let's actually defer nothing. Let's get this fossil as well, shall we? No silver coin. Alright, so there we go. We got our items. Now let's talk about the Maven. The Maven is something you guys absolutely need to know about. She is both insane and really annoying. Okay, so when you're doing the Atlas, you're going to be going through the maps as normal, and eventually you're going to drop a Maven's Orb. Now, not the currency which you can slam items with and make them insane. It's like a different Maven's Orb, and it'll be specific for the area you're in. So you can see here, maybe you're in Valdo's Rest and you drop the Maven's Orb. Well, you can use that, and you'll now gain access to the Maven's Beacon. Here's the Maven's Beacon here. It's a toggleable button that you can put on the map device, and essentially if you toggle it on, the Maven will always be set to witness any map that you do. So if you put in one that's eligible to be witnessed, then there you go, dude, she's gonna pop up, and there she is. Now, you can see these different bars over the top here. If I was to do 6 witness maps in Lex Proxima of the appropriate tier, you need to do higher tier maps for the higher tier witness levels, then I would be able to do a 6 boss encounter. And after doing that, you get some rewards, and then you also get to assign some Atlas Ascendancy points. So there's plenty of videos on these, but we'll talk about them in depth later on, I'm sure, when we get into more juicing strategies. But essentially, you're able to assign some points, pick the ones which are best for you, and then you'll get to go through the thing again, and you just do more Maven maps, and then you'll get more points. Now, when you do a Maven map, let's see if I've got one, a Maven encountered or inhabited map, please have one. Looks like I don't have one on me, but essentially it actually marks the map once you've gotten the boss from it as having been Maven encountered. Yeah, we don't have any here. That's okay though. So it actually comes up in your Atlas as kind of a different icon. That means that you've seen and witnessed the boss there. You'll be able to see it on your Atlas, and it'll also have purple text on it saying that the Maven has already witnessed that map. And that's really important info, because you can only fill up one of these dots on this bar with a new map boss. You can't use the same map boss over and over again. It won't work. You need different ones. So you actually need to end up doing 5, 6, and then 10 different maps ultimately in each of these zones. And in the corner ones, that's going to be fairly limiting. You basically have to do one of each map to get the Maven encounter. So there you go. Pretty interesting indeed. So now you guys know how to do the Maven. Let's talk a little bit about warnings, shall we? Because this is a big deal. So Maven is actually no joke. She is ridiculously hard at higher tiers. She essentially juices the absolute living daylights out of the boss, and she also has sort of arena mechanics which just straight up one-shot you and you can't even see them. At least for me, I couldn't see them. There's Shaper Slam level abilities which I can't even see. So yeah, you're going to be dying a lot to that kind of stuff like that. And a really important note is it's not just maps. She can witness stuff like Uber Theory and also Chayula and stuff like that. So if you're farming a Breachstone and you just happen to have this on, Maven will be in there and she will absolutely put you in the trash can, man. So I was farming Chayulas and we had this on by accident, and she juiced the hell out of Chayula. It was really intense. So, what does the Maven do to the boss? Well, on the lower tiers, I can't really notice it, but on the higher tiers, she essentially makes it so the boss has insane life regen as one of the things. That thing, if you die and come back in, it's a full health again. So it's really, really hard to corpse run this thing. No softcore strategies here, please. We have to do it in one. So it's really, really tough. She gives it insane life regen. Even on stuff like Uber Theory and Chayula, they will regen to full if you die. So very, very punishing in that department. It also, gives you the arena effects and also makes the boss harder. And in some cases, there'll be 2 of them. Actually insane. So make sure if you're doing T16 Guardians or something like that, turn this off unless you're ready for the challenge, because when the Guardians are juiced, it's actually really, really hard to kill them. Even I'm having trouble with them on my almost full build. So yeah, really crazy. If you're doing your first Shaper and stuff like that, maybe don't set the Maven to witness the Shaper. Very scary. Okay. So, I was talking about witnessing Shaper and all these sorts of things. So without any spoilers here, I'm not going to go into the actual fight stuff because I did take a quick peek at it. When you do Shaper, or when you do Chayula, or any of these endgame bosses, the Maven will start dropping these very specific invitations. So you can see here, there's a Maven's invitation of the feed. This one I got from Chayula, and I actually got this one from Chayula as well. So this is the feed one. So it's Cortex, Chayula, Alluring Abyss. So you actually have to activate this this invitation by witnessing all of those encounters. So you have to witness Shaper just to get in here. Witness Uber just to get in here. So it's Uber Theory, Chayula, Cortex, Uber and Shaper. You have to witness all of them to even get a shot at Maven. Completely insane. Actually going to be the hardest boss in the game. I don't know. I haven't tried it myself yet, but I know for a fact that the rewards are insane. You're going to get a ton of juice from these things. So very good indeed. So really crazy. Obviously this one is the Guardians, a little bit easier. I'm probably going to try this one first because that one sounds ridiculous. Yeah, very cool indeed. And this is going to be the new ultimate end game of Path of Exile. It's going to be significantly harder, I imagine, than Cyrus 8 or 9. And it actually is going to award you with new skill points, which can be placed into the middle of the Atlas, in the 9th Atlas tree, which really take your Atlas to the next level. But this is no joke. This is going to be very hard, I imagine. So yeah, stay tuned for that. So that's kind of going to be like all of the stuff early on. Make sure you guys be careful with the Maven. She is absolutely crazy. Get in those rituals, get a massive juice up on the currency, and I'll see you guys in future videos for absolutely more min-maxing. You know it's coming. And make sure you come drop by the stream as well for us trying to slay Maven. So until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.